Welcome to Kleppers Corner, the show where global catastrophe and moral ambiguity are just part of the opening act. I'm your host, Jordan Klepper, and today we've got drone warfare, economic slap fights, exploding volcanoes, angry bankers, ancient rivers under ice, and a pope trying to save the world with vibes alone. So buckle up, because if you thought the world was on fire, surprise, now it might also be actively volcanic. Segment 1, prisoner swaps and drone swarms, the Ukraine-Russia multitask war. The Ukraine-Russia conflict. Still going strong in its quest to win Best Picture. Endless War Edition. This week, Ukraine launched a drone attack on a Russian oil depot in Sochi, which is basically like bombing someone's vacation home for strategic vibes. Russia responded with missile strikes on Mykolaiv, injuring civilians, because that's just what you do when you're trying to prove you're still the bad guy in a conflict with no good guys. But plot twist, amidst the carnage, both sides agreed to exchange 1,200 prisoners, because nothing says we're serious about peace like missiles by morning and mutual releases by lunch. It's like a custody agreement drawn up by Michael Bay. And then Donald Trump popped in with the finesse of a toddler in a glass shop, threatening new tariffs on Russia unless they show progress by August 8th. Trump giving peace deadlines is like a guy setting curfew rules after crashing the family car into a Chick-fil-A. Segment 2, Bangladesh's absent trial and Pakistan's present support. In Bangladesh, the International Crimes Tribunal just opened the trial of deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in absentia. She's being charged with crimes against humanity for allegedly ordering the brutal crackdown on student protest in 2024. In legal terms, she ghosted court harder than your last hinge date. Meanwhile, Pakistan cozied up to Iran, openly backing their right to peaceful nuclear capability. You know, just like how your neighbor swears their flamethrower collection is for gardening. This partnership between two nuclear-capable nations makes the region feel less like a diplomatic forum and more like a reality show titled, Whose Bomb Is It Anyway? Segment 3, Gaza protests in Sydney and rail dreams deferred. In Australia, tens of thousands of people protested the war and famine in Gaza by marching across the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Because when you've got a conscience and no U.S. drones, you use your feet. Meanwhile, the U.S. Transportation Department canceled grants for high-speed rail between Baltimore and D.C. Yep, we can fund endless military adventures, but making a train go 250 miles per hour, too expensive. Can't risk folks getting to work before their morning existential dread kicks in. Over in Russia and China, they're expanding rail like it's 1920 and steel is free. Putin wants trains in the Arctic. We can't even get one from Baltimore to brunch. Segment 4, Economic Slapfest, India versus Trump. Trump, never one to skip a feud, called India's economy dead on Truth Social. The IMF, meanwhile, said, nah, bro, India's booming. In retaliation, Trump slapped a 25% tariff on Indian goods, plus penalties for their oil deals with Russia. India responded with a strategic middle finger and said, we'll keep buying Russian crude, thank you very much. So now we've got a tariff tantrum and a classic geopolitical flex-off. This is economic policy in 2025. Trump's trying to bring manufacturing home, while India's saying, cool, we'll just take your spot in the global supply chain. Segment 5, Sunday banking and mental health meltdowns in India. India's Financial Services Department told public sector banks to stay open on Sunday to distribute benefits under the PM Kisan scheme. Bank unions were not thrilled. Turns out legally, Sunday wasn't even a working day under Indian law, which means every transaction was possibly illegal, but very enthusiastic. Bankers are now working 12 days straight. That's not a work week, it's a cry for help with a side of overtime anxiety. The unions are demanding rest days, mental health support, and perhaps the radical notion that labor laws should apply to labor. Segment 6, Cosmic Death Spirals and Alien Gut Feelings. In space news, astronomers found a planet 5 times the size of Jupiter spiraling into its sun. It orbits every 16 hours and is expected to be swallowed whole soon, which is basically the cosmic equivalent of burning out in your 30s after one bad relationship and too many craft beers. Meanwhile, researchers found that gut microbes send signals directly to the brain through specialized cells, meaning your stomach isn't just where you store regret, it's also your second brain. Great, now I have 2 parts of my body screaming, why did you eat Taco Bell at 2 a.m.? Also, scientists think cosmic rays might fuel alien life under the surface of Mars and icy moons. Yep, aliens could be living underground, fueled by radiation, which makes them basically the Chernobyl version of Golem. Segment 7, Mirror Life and Bioethics on Fire. Scientists are warning that creating mirror life, a life form with reverse molecular structures, could trigger irreversible harm to ecosystems and health. It's the kind of warning where the scientists basically go, please, we're begging you, don't play God until we've figured out what we're doing. It's like Jurassic Park, except instead of dinosaurs, we're cooking up microbial demons with a vendetta against carbon-based life. Jeff Goldblum would not approve. Segment 8, Volcanoes, Glaciers, and the Melty Apocalypse. In terrifying but fascinating climate news, scientists say melting glaciers could wake up dormant volcanoes beneath them. That's right. Climate change is not only raising sea levels and wrecking crops, it might also unleash ancient lava demons. This means the Earth isn't just warming, it's basically getting pissed off in every layer. Welcome to the geological Hunger Games, folks. Segment 9, DOJ versus Trump's deportation goals. Back home, the Department of Justice is pushing back on Trump's goal to deport 3,000 immigrants per day. Apparently, it's hard to bulldoze due process when federal judges keep saying things like, that's illegal. The $147 billion border budget is still moving through Congress, but it's clear the DOJ is walking a tightrope between political marching orders and actual law. Remember law? It's that thing we used to pretend mattered. Segment 10, Pope Leo's Youth Peace Rally and the Dalai Lama's toilet upgrade. And finally, a global palate cleanser. Over 1 million youth gathered in Rome, where Pope Leo XIV asked them to be the change the world needs, specifically one that doesn't end in nuclear winter. He even gave a shout out to kids in Gaza and Ukraine, proving he reads the room better than 90% of politicians. Meanwhile, the Dalai Lama laid the first stone for a Buddhist temple renovation that includes modern plumbing and sustainable design, because nothing says spiritual enlightenment like eco-friendly public bathrooms. And that's the world on August 3rd, 2025. War continues, glaciers are melting into volcanoes, Trump's still posting threats like your divorced uncle, and somewhere deep in the ocean, DNA from a brittle star is probably whispering, we're all connected. Until next time, I'm Jordan Klepper, and remember, when life gives you gut-brain connections, use them to sense when your democracy is under threat.